Howdy, 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 my name's Anachi Sasuke. Welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the last episode, we checked out Nanny, Hypergraphia, Memory Stones, Hybridization, and the Rocket Surgeon. I forgot to Google whether or not Nanny actually has anything to do with terms about goats, but in this episode, we're going to be checking out California Field, Everyone's Spreadsheet, Asexual, Speak No, Hear No, See No, and Camera Disruption. There's been a lot of things regarding asexualness, not asexuality, not that, the other thing. Reproducing asexually happening in the last couple of episodes. I don't know why it keeps coming up, but maybe this entry will give some insight into that somehow. SCP-891 is to be surrounded by a 1/2 kilometer buffer zone purchased by the Foundation under the guise of a peach farm. Foundation agents are to deter any civilians from entering 891. A 10-meter fence is to surround 891 in order to prevent unauthorized entry. Intruders discovered within the grounds of 891 are to be apprehended, administered Class A amnestics, and released. Planting vegetation of any kind requires the permission of Level 4 personnel. Apple trees are never to be planted in 891. All animals that carry the potential to deposit apple seeds via fecal matter in 891 are to be deterred from entering. Any vegetation that sprouts in 891 as a result of seed deposition by wind, bird, or other natural causes is to be immediately incinerated. What is this called again? California Field. SCP-891 is a field located in blank, California. The dimensions are 1.5 by 1 kilometers. Any plant that bears edible fruit is able to grow in 891 regardless of previous soil or climate needs. Plants planted in 891 experience moderately accelerated growth and seem to require abnormally small amounts of water and sunlight to grow. Fruits produced by plants inside 891 are larger than average and have been said to look delicious. Chemical analysis has revealed that compounds responsible for producing appealing texture, flavor, and aroma are abnormally high in 891's fruit. Attempts by Foundation staff to render the soil of 891 incapable of supporting vegetation has been unsuccessful. Salting has had no effect. However, once salted soil was removed from the grounds, it behaved as expected and did not support vegetation. Attempting to ingest any fruit with the exception of apples grown in 891 results instead in the consumption of the subject's own internal organs. Okay. Autopsies have revealed that damage to internal organs is consistent with bite patterns made by the subjects on bitten fruit. Most subjects, even after the initial bite, continue to consume the fruit, claiming that it is delicious. The subjects are oblivious to any pain that would normally arise from extensive damage to internal organs, as well as to the fact that they are consuming their organs, as opposed to a fruit. After 3 or 4 bites, the subject usually dies of internal bleeding and trauma, though subjects can remain alive if the targeted organ is non-vital. Cutting, slicing, or usage in cooking does not negate the fruit's effects. Consumption of apples grown within 891 results in data expunged. It is unknown why apples are the only fruit to produce such an effect, though it is hypothesized that consumption of the apples results in a reverse data expunged. The first and only known instance of data expunged resulted in blank Foundation casualties. Blank died later as a result of third-degree burns sustained during the attempt to contain data expunged. Blank agents vanished entirely from the immediate area. Foundation tracking devices were unable to pinpoint their location. Data expunged pending classification as an SCP object, though its nature may prevent effective containment. You know what would have been nice? Finding out what the hell that did. Instead of just going, if you put apples there, data expunge, blank, 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 blank. Fuck you! Anyway, Addendum. SCP-891 was brought to the Foundation's attention when an abnormal number of missing persons reports was filed in blank, California. All missing persons were last seen at Strawberry Farms, the previous names of 891. Police and government investigations did not return within 72 hours, which alerted Foundation members stationed in the nearby city of blank blank. Foundation staff eventually apprehended blank blank, the owner of the farm. Searches of their house revealed data expunged, and psychological testing found blank to be clinically insane. Blank was subsequently terminated. No apple trees were found when it was originally recovered. It is possible that Mrs. Blank was unaware of data expunged. Since the Foundation's acquisition, there have been blank 100 counts of natural deposition of seeds in 891. 75% of those natural depositions have been the deposition of apple seeds. It is unknown if the disproportionate number of apple seeds being sown by natural causes in 891 is an effect of it or simply bad luck. Despite the Foundation's effort to prevent fecal deposition of apple seeds within 891, apple saplings are reported to spring up on a similar semi-regular basis. It is unknown how these seeds are sown in 891. Request for reclassification to Euclid has been denied. Due to the nature of data expunged, permanent construction of a rapid response establishment around 891 is under consideration. Addendum B. Analysis of documents found within Blank's home has revealed Blank's history of misanthropy and paranoia. Certain texts, notable in that they are not written in Blank's handwriting, seem to be primitive blueprints for 891. Efforts are being taken by the Foundation to discover the artist. Notes made by Blank in the margins indicate that Blank had little understanding of the content of the blueprints. A recipe was found within their kitchen for a cherry, peach, raspberry, and blueberry fruitcake. Bodies were found in the backyard. Internal organs of the bodies were found to be pulverized beyond recognition. Addendum C. On blank blank blank, a batch of fruit exhibiting properties identical to those found in 891 grown fruit was found to have reached a supermarket in blank. It is believed that this was caused by a security data expunged, though it is unknown if data expunged. Fortunately, no apples were present in the delivery. All witnesses have been administered Class B amnestics. Casualties have been attributed to a gas leak. Foundation investigations in order to determine the source of said fruit are underway. Yeah, I'm sorry for that slight rant that happened there. It gets on my nerves when there's an SCP entry that builds up something as really interesting and definitely you want to know what's going to happen, and then it's nothing but blanks and data expunged for like 2 to 3 paragraphs. Why even mention that at all if you're not going to take the time to write something about what it is? So, everyone's spreadsheet. 892 is Euclid. It is to be contained... Okay, hold on. It is to be contained within maximum security vault blank 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 located blank meters beneath site blank. All O5 personnel are to be issued a magnetic access key coupled with an individual passcode. A minimum of 3 O5 Overseer personnel access keys and corresponding passcodes are required to begin a 48-hour unlock sequence to grant access to 892. Should all 13 O5 Overseer personnel access keys and corresponding passcodes be entered simultaneously, the vault will unlock immediately. Access to 892 is permitted strictly under O5 supervision and for the sole purpose of attempting to identify the location of 2. In the events that 2 is located, all O5 personnel are to be alerted, and Mobile Task Force Move 4, aka Debuggers, is to be dispatched. In the event of containment breach, 892 is to be defended at all costs. The risk of it falling into the wrong hands could have catastrophic results for the Foundation as a whole, as well as the rest of the world. In the unlikely event that Site Blank is to be overrun, 892 is to be decommissioned immediately. Unauthorized access is grounds for immediate termination, not determination. SCP-892 is an Amstrad 286 personal computer with accompanying mouse and keyboard running a version of Microsoft Excel 92. Attempts to export and import save files result in corruption of said files. Attempts to install and uninstall software are likewise met with failure. Upon its discovery, SCP-892 was found containing a single Excel save file titled this, hereby designated SCP-892-1. The save file is impossible to delete, copy, rename, export, modify, or overwrite in any shape or form. Although creating additional Excel files is possible, none have thus far shown similar anomalous properties. Contained within each cell of 1 is a string of information written in plain text English. Each cell, as well as the contained string, is believed to correspond to a currently living individual. The string can contain information as mundane as what said individual ate for breakfast, their occupation, or their shoe size, to information as personal as their first sexual encounter, a thought they had that morning, or their greatest phobia. These cells refresh daily, displaying a different string of information each time. Should a recorded individual die, the corresponding cell will, upon the next refresh, display their name and time and cause of death. At the time of discovery, 1 was found to contain approximately 84,500 by 84,500 cells, slightly over 7 billion. Despite the belief that each cell corresponds to a single person, this amount was greater than Earth's estimated population at the time. Additional rows and columns have appeared regularly since then, the rate of growth slightly greater than that of Earth's population. Cell A1 suggests that 892 itself is not the source of 1's information, but rather is connected to a server designated 2. How 892 connects to 2 is currently unknown. Cell A2 suggests that upon entering a password, the higher functions of 1 may be accessed. Cells refresh daily at 12 AM Pacific Time. Cells of interest. The following is by no means an exhaustive list. For a complete list of cells examined so far, please consult attached document L892A. A1. Consistently displays status /secure, server data 32%, ping, all these things. A2 is password required for full access. G231, redacted by O5 order. Z26, update suggests individual plans to assassinate Dr. Blank. The researcher has been placed in protective custody. Solid Black is AH423, BW 10841, suspected to be blank blank, a known member of the Chaos Insurgency. Redacted. Updates display subsequent lines from Chuck McKenzie's predatory instincts. Consistently blank, suspected to be Mark Begrich, Alaskan U.S. Senator. Consistently displays data pertaining to abortion. Individual believed to be schizophrenic. Data expunged. Suspected to be an uncontained SCP. Consistently displays full access required for both of those. Symbols displayed do not correlate to any known on Earth. Suspected redacted. Updates display the names of different Greek mythological heroes. Consistently displays 404 individual not found. Consistently displays 909 individual out of range. Suspected to be serial killer data expunged whose death sentence was carried out in 19-something. Suspected to be blank blank, however, updates suggest individual is a pedophile. Suspected to be SCP blank. Suspected to be the Canadian Prime Minister. Updates display thinly veiled threats toward the Foundation and Foundation personnel. Suspected corrupt cell. Updates demonstrate self-awareness, yet are nonsensical or contradictory. Redacted. Confirmed as Dr. Blank, researcher has been detained and used for testing with SCP-892. Updates display subsequent digits of pi to the 105th place before resetting. Consistently displays death string, name, time, and cause different each time. Okie dokie. Asexual. What am I looking at? It's safe. It's another ad for the Amazon Fire TV. Get out of here. SCP-893 may freely roam the facility under the supervision of site personnel. Pre-existing instances of 893X are to be housed in nurseries at Site 17. Any new instances of X are to be, used to say, placed into custody, and now it says immediately terminated. Tissue samples taken from 893 should be contained within 5 minutes of extraction. SCP-893 is a 39-year-old Hispanic male who calls himself Blank. It used to say, is a balding, overweight male with green eyes. SCP-893X was initially discovered by Blank shortly after having severed from 893's fourth and fifth fingers on his right hand during a work-related incident at a construction site. The subject claims to have brought the fingers back to his home and put them on ice, neglecting to visit the hospital due to personal reasons. Blank observed his severed ring finger developing a clear fluid around its mass before taking on the form of what appeared to be a diminutive human fetus. Repeated testing and research has revealed that 893's account is factual. 893 exhibits very crude regeneration capabilities. Experiment log 452 is to be referenced for detailed information about the stumps. Any appendages or substantial amounts of living tissue liberated from 893 undergo an accelerated process similar to clonal fragmentation. Smaller amounts of tissue produce less intelligent, shorter-lived clones, while opposite results are achieved from larger amounts of tissue. These instances, henceforth referred to as 893X, on average, age and grow 20 times faster than a human being, and are usually all but completely consumed in cancerous tissue and deformed by the end of their extremely short life cycles. X exhibit limited intelligence, although many instances identify by 893's name. Addendum blank. Intelligence assessment. Hello, how are you? 245 appears to stare at the interviewer vacantly. How are you? Tony? Repeat that, please? Begins to produce guttural noises similar to laughter. Motions to personnel non-sapient, recover the data expunged. Pet redacted. 352, bring in 352 as scheduled. Snippets from 3 agreement. Describe the incident. I didn't know what it was at first, you know? Them little blobby shits always scare the living fuck out of me. What was I supposed to do? I stomped both of them on my carpet, and when I saw the faces and eyes on my shoes, I pissed myself. Every fucking time, man. I still got my fingers. I don't know how, but Ma says it's because we're all just tough, not the little ones she means. You don't seem surprised. Fingers grow back? Duh, fingers grow back too. It's animals, man. Redacted. Nah, do your shit, I say. My old job was balls. As long as I'm being paid for this, man, just make sure I don't have to feel it when you take the pieces, you know? Look this document over. Nah, just give me a pen and I'll sign. Addendum A. His eye and one of his limbs aren't growing back anymore. There are depressions in some patches of skin that don't seem to be changing either. I understand the value of this resource, but I request that further sampling of 893 bodily tissue cease. It said he's, and now they cross out. It's starting to look like a potato. Dr. Blank. Request denied by Site Director Blank. Out. Related sites. Site 17. Since when is this a thing? Okay. Let's see. Speak no, hear no, see no. I was about to say, better not be Keter. All copies of 1 and 2 are available for research use. Copies of 3 require permission by a member of senior staff. When not checked out, copies of 1 and 2 are to be stored in SCP Containment Locker 12 at Site 19. Copies of 3 are to be stored in Containment Locker 47. There are to be only 2 keys to Locker 47, one for the site director and one for the most senior researcher on site. Both key holders must be present in order for Locker 47 to be opened. Only Level 4 researchers are allowed access to 3. Description: SCP-894 1, 2, and 3 are a number of small plastic monkeys, each set with a slightly different mold. 1 is molded so that the monkey's hands are covering its mouth. 2 is shaped in such a way that the monkey's hands are covering its ears. 3 is shaped in such a way that the monkey's hands are covering its eyes. On the bottom of each copy is stamped "The Factory." I saw that as I was reading such a way that the monkey... Anyway. Copies of 894 are easily destroyed, whether through brute strength or applied heat. When any living being within 5 meters of 1 makes visual contact with a specimen, they are rendered incapable of vocalization for a period of 24 hours. In humans, function of the vocal cords has been observed to continue during this time, and operation of the tongue and jaw is uninhibited, except during a conscious attempt to produce language or other meaningful sound. In addition, speech processing and written forms of communication are unimpaired. It has therefore been concluded that the effect is sourced in those areas of the brain associated with speech production. It has been shown that subjects suffering from severe visual agnosia are otherwise incapable of identifying 1 are unaffected. The first instance of 1 was found hanging outside the complaint office of Data Expunged. There are currently 7 copies of 1 in Foundation hands. When any living being comes within 5 meters of 2 and becomes visually aware of said SCP, they lose all ability to hear for 24 hours. Copies of 2 have most often been found in anarchist groups who seem to delight in placing said SCP in public places such as churches, schools, and places of business. Task Force Lambda 3, no given nickname, is devoted to tracking down these groups and liberating all instances of 2. The Foundation currently has 12 copies of 2. When any living being comes in within 5 meters of 3 and becomes visually aware of said SCP, they lose all ability to see for 24 hours. 3 was first encountered in the hands of a serial rapist now known as Disposable 894. There is no evidence at this time whether 3 was made in smaller batches than 1 and 2, or if the current owners of copies of 3 are simply better at hiding its uses. The Foundation currently has 2 copies of 3. Use of instances of SCP-894 by research staff and disposable dues to prevent the effects of objects possessing visual, vocal, or auditory triggers, such as 1752, 1753, and 2599 respectively, has proven effective means of facilitating ongoing containment. I was wondering when something from the factory was going to show up in the 800s. It took until 894 for it to happen. If it happened earlier in the 800s, I simply don't remember, but I had a feeling it was going to happen. Everybody gets 1. So, SCP-895 is Euclid. It's sealed. 895 is sealed, closed, and stored in an isolated underground containment cell at a depth of approximately 100 meters. Oh, it's a live feed. And it has the actual current time of where I am right now, and I don't like that. Like, at all. No cameras, microphones, or other surveillance equipment may be brought within the 10-meter red zone radius of 895 without express permission from at least 2 Level 3 personnel. I'm expecting it to do something. Okay, there's just the blinking red light in the red hallway, and nothing seems to be happening in the blue hallway. Any on-site personnel exhibiting unusual behavior or signs of psychological trauma are to be screened immediately and removed from the site or terminated as the situation warrants. SCP-895 is an ornate oak coffin recovered from the blank blank mortuary by SCP personnel on blankety blank blank, following reports of unusual footage captured by surveillance equipment installed at that location. When questioned, mortuary staff were unable to determine the source of 895 and how it was transported to the location. Upon attempting to open it, agents on location found the object empty. However, observers viewing the live camera feed were data expunged. Until further notice, it must remain closed at all times. SCP-895 causes disruptions in video and photographic surveillance equipment within 50 meters, similar to vivid, disturbing hallucinations, with variable duration and regularity corresponding to the camera's proximity to 895. Within a range of 5 meters from 895, footage captured can cause severe psychological trauma and hysteria in most subjects. These disruptions do not extend to observers physically present within the area. Addendum. Audio excerpt from the 895 recovery log on blankety blank blank. Command. Team 1, command. All civilians have been detained and evacuated. You're cleared to move in and capture. Command 1 lead. Roger, we're moving in. We're inside the lobby. Video feed check. Team 1, command. We're seeing blood on the walls. Please confirm. Negative, command. It's clean in here. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's gone. Team 1, advise possible memetic properties in effect. Copy, command. Team 1 moving into storage area. We're in the storage area. Object located. Christ, it's moving. Team 1, confirm. Object appears to be alive and moving. Command, negative. We see no movement. Object appears to be normal. 2, open it up. Sounds of weapons being readied, followed by creaking as object is opened. Sir, it's empty. Command 1 lead. The object appears to be empty. Command, do you copy? Sounds of screaming and retching. Command, do you copy? Shit, we're bugging out. Close that thing. Addendum 2. Following incident data expunged and the loss of 3 personnel, the red zone of 895 has been extended from 5 meters to 10 meters, and security personnel shifts have been reduced to 4 hours as a precaution. See now, the fact that this is an SCP that's built off of, if you see the camera feed of it, it'll mess you up. The fact that this link has the camera feed on it is dirty. So we're going to close out of that window. We're never coming back. And that about does it for this episode of Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. In the next one, we're going to be checking out online role-playing game, Voodoo Organ Transplant, Memetic Counter Agent, Lost Children, and then we're going to be ticking over into the 900s finally and start with City of the Sun. So, if you liked it, a like and subscribe would be groovy. If you didn't, you don't need to do either one of those things, and I will see y'all in the next one. Later.